Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Through Black and White Eyes. I haven't heard from Graham, so I'm hoping he's turning up, but he might not. If he doesn't turn up, then we're going to discuss the game and then also what changes might be made tomorrow night. So I've got a sort of a plan. It's been a long day at work. I've struggled to get online and check everything and all that sort of stuff, but here's hoping. But he might be busy. Welcome back to Graham Bailey on the next episode of Through Black and White Eyes. Please like, share, subscribe, hype to promote. It's free. Please adhere to standard community guidelines. Keep comments respectful and enjoy the show. You can join the channel from just 99p. Donate using Super Chat. All profits are donated and designated to charities. Evening, everyone. I can't wait to get my shift pattern for next year so I can finally announce our next talking. Really looking forward to doing that. Gary and Robbie's in the house. Robbie must be very, very happy. That was some result yesterday for your boys. I'm not going to lie, kind of peeved me off a little bit. I was in a last man standing with William Hill. Started off with 100,000 people. I got down to 1,000. And I picked Liverpool. It's down to 555 now because of Liverpool's loss. Why didn't I pick someone like Burnley? I couldn't pick Sunderland, could I? It just couldn't happen. So yeah, a little bit gutted. You did them over, but I'm also very happy as well at the same time because I've been winding up a Liverpool fan at work all day. It's been quite funny, to be fair. We'll give him a couple of more minutes and see if he can make it. Someone saw Ramsey at the Metro today and he seemed in good spirits. Yeah, good times beating this guy. Of course it is for a Man United fan. It's incredible, isn't it? I mean, I still couldn't believe it. I thought when Man United when Liverpool equalised, I thought that was it. Evening, Lee. It's been a while, pal. Hope you're well. But yeah, fun times. It doesn't look like Graham's going to be able to make it. I hope he's all right. Could be family thing, could be anything. But I know Graham's very, very interested in doing this talking that we're going to be doing very, very soon. So let's talk about the game. On Sunday, I know we haven't had a chance to do that. Not going to lie, I had a family day on Sunday and really enjoyed it. But Saturday was tough. It was a tough one to take. There's three things that are definite in this world: death, taxes, and Danny Welbeck scoring against Newcastle United. But I am so disappointed with our midfield. Obviously, the first 10 minutes was brilliant, I thought, personally. I thought we were excellent. Bruno should have scored. We had that massive chance, and he put it wide. And that set the tone for the rest of the first half, because once that 10 minutes, we seemed to have blown ourselves out, which is a criticism of Eddie Howe, which I'll come to soon. Now, I love Eddie Howe, you know I do, but you've got to criticise him when you feel you need to. And the tactics and the starting 11. But their first goal, I don't know if you've had a chance to analyse it. There are 3 Newcastle players in the line. There is 1 Brighton player standing behind them. The ball gets played past the 3 Newcastle players to this 1 player. When he gets the ball, he feigns to go back towards his own goal, and all 3 of our players are sold the dummy because they all went, all right, we're going to go that way. And then he just turned and started running towards goal. And then he played a lovely through ball to Danny Welbeck, who dinked it over Nick Pope. And that was it, 1-0. And they deserve to go into that first 45 minutes 1-0 ahead. They really did. Which was after the first 10 minutes, I expected more from ourselves, but we were poor. Very poor. Alanga, unfortunately, is not cutting it at the moment, but I'm going to give the lad time, as we always do. But the second half, obviously, changes. He made changes at half-time, which is fantastic to see. He obviously realised it wasn't working, so he pulled a couple of players out, put a couple on, and then he made changes again later on in the game to go for it. Miley being one of the changes who I thought actually did very, very well when he came on, and he also created the goal, sort of, in a way. I mean, he got himself in the box. It's a cross onto Walter Maid's right foot, and instead of taking one touch and then trying to shoot, he flicks it behind him into the far corner. It was just an unbelievable finish. But that doesn't happen if Miley's not bold enough to get into the box and to make those forward runs. And I honestly thought Miley was actually almost superb when he came on. 1 assist, 2 key passes, 34 out of 35 successful passes. Passes in the opposition half, 20 out of 20. Passes in own half, 14 out of 15. Long balls, 1 out of 1. For someone who only played 20 minutes, he didn't half make a difference. I thought Gordon and the 2 Brazilians looked leggy, especially Big Joe did hear it was touch and go if he started. I'm going to come to that. But Walter Maid is just on a different level, isn't he? I honestly don't know how Eddie Howe does it. I mean, he made Isak into almost a legend at Newcastle United until he did what he did. Sold him off to Liverpool for 130 million. And we've never seen the same Isak again. Eddie Howe has this way of knowing how to play to a player's strength. And there we go. So unbelievable. I mean, he's got. I can see Walter Maid in 2 years' time knocking on the door of big teams again if we're not at that level. Just unbelievable. I can't speak highly enough of the lad. He's just unbelievable. Walter Maid, he really is. And then obviously the sucker. I mean, I thought we were on top. I honestly thought we were going to go on and win the game. We looked like we would, and then there was a sucker punch again. You know, a quick break, sliding challenge on the edge of the box, takes out 2 of our players. Danny Welbeck's left to smash it in from 18 yards into the far left corner. I personally don't think Nick Pope's got a single chance of saving that, but I've been told by quite various people saying Nick Pope should have saved it because it wasn't right in the corner. I mean, no. Not from 18 yards, not when he was protecting one side, when the defender was stopping the corner, the other side. I don't see how Nick Pope saves that, to be completely honest with you, but I could be wrong. But to me, no. Well played to Brighton. They always do it to us. We haven't beaten them since 2017 when Mordiarmi scored that fluke into the top corner. And then we scored one of the best goals, team goals of the season against Brighton with Iosi Perez, who finished it off. That was the last time we beat them at the Amex. I mean, to be honest with you, it's probably the last time last time we beat them at home was when we qualified for the Champions League the first time. So Brighton have the wool over our eyes. It's mental. I don't know how they keep doing it, but they do. And Danny Welbeck just keeps on doing it as well. It's crazy. Right. Criticism of Eddie Howe, which I very rarely do. You know how much I love him. But something wasn't right with that selection at the weekend. On paper, that is probably our best team until the injuries come back. You know, obviously, Tino, Lewis Hall, you know, they're big, big misses. So on paper, this was our best team. But there was a big international break. Joelinton and Bruno had a nightmare getting out to South America. Then they played a lot of the games. We find out Joelinton has potentially got an injury. Tonali plays both games for Italy, potentially not feeling well. Gordon plays both games for England. And I think he played almost 90 minutes for England for both games, didn't he? He wasn't far off. Alanga doesn't get much game time, but flies over on international duty for Sweden. So you've got, and Dan Burn, obviously England duty, but Dan Burn was always going to play at left back. So you've got, and Walter Maid, who went to Germany. So you've got 7 out of this first team who played a lot of minutes internationally, picked up some little injuries or knocks or whatever, fatigue, illnesses, and he put them all into the team. Now, this is where I have a slight criticism of Eddie Howe, because he's obviously stuck with the strongest team on paper. He should have used his squad. That's what the squad is for. That's why you look to your bench and you see players who can change a game and you bring them on. But you also want those players to be able to start games when the other guys aren't quite feeling it. So for me, I would have dropped Joelinton because he had an injury. I would have dropped Gordon because he played almost all the games. Now, Alanga is a touch and go one. Murphy at the moment looks like he's a better player, so you'd probably start Murphy anyway. But those two, Joelinton and Gordon, I wouldn't have played them at the weekend from the start. I would have brought them on from the bench. Now, I would have started Harvey Barnes, and you know what my feelings on Harvey Barnes is. He's not as good as Gordon, but a fresh Harvey Barnes, chomping at the bit, should have started on Saturday. And he made a difference when he came on. And Ramsey probably should have started in front of Joelinton to give legs in that midfield where Tonali and Bruno were struggling. And there's an argument maybe he should have started Miley and then brung the guys on. Now, I understand going to Brighton's a difficult place. I really do. But you've got to use your squad. You've got to put your trust in them. Obviously, no need to rest Botman or Chow or Trippier or Pope because they weren't on international duty. So they all make sense. But to me, we missed a trick. We really did. And the other thing as well, with your squad, while they're away on international duty, you could have been drilling the team that was going to play on Saturday, proper drilling them, getting them ready for Brighton and saying, right, you guys have got the shirt this weekend. The other guys are going to come back. So let's get ourselves fit. Let's get ourselves a strategy, tactics. Let's get ourselves set up correctly for what we're going to get against Brighton and then have a proper good go at them. And then you've got Gordon, you've got Joelinton to come on. You've got Alanga to come on with his pace. We could have used the squad so much better than what we did on Saturday. So that's my criticism of Eddie Howe. I think he got the team wrong. Personally, I did say this in our group on Twitter. I thought he should have used his squad better well before kickoff, especially with players like Tonali, like Joelinton, who are superb. But if they've got niggles, they're not 100%. You can't expect them to do all that work that they do in games when they're not 100% fit. So very frustrating. Given what you're saying, Baz, do you think we've made tomorrow's match a bit harder? Yes, hell of a lot harder. Because Tonali's got a bug, doesn't look like he might be starting. It's touch and go. It's a quick turnaround going to a Tuesday night. Who's he going to start? I mean, after the last Champions League game, you'd want to start Gordon. He got 2 goals. I know they're from the penalty spot, but he got 2 goals. Alanga had a great game. The Champions League becomes a different kettle of fish because teams set up differently. And obviously, it's a league situation where you've got to go and win games and get points to qualify for the next stage. Where in the Premier League, you can get teams who play a low block and try and hit you on the break. But in the Champions League, they're a bit more open. They're a bit more sure of themselves. Better teams. Obviously, we're playing against a very good team tomorrow night. Benfica are a fantastic football team. So it's not going to be easy. But Benfica don't like travelling to England. And I know all this, well, it's a different game. They've never played us in a very long time and all this sort of stuff. Benfica don't like travelling this far. So we've got a good chance of beating them. But it's going to be tough. I mean, a win propels us potentially into the top 7. And you've got to win your home games if you want to qualify for the next stages. So this is a massively important game. It really is. Who's he going to start with? I am not sure, to be honest with you, because, I mean, looking at it, Nick Pope had an absolute outstanding game in the last time they played it. Gordon, 7.70, had an outstanding game. The midfield weren't fantastic, but we did what we needed to do. I try not to be critical of any of our players. We have our days off, but I started Barnes and Murphy Saturday. Yeah, it's not being critical of the players. It's rotation, it's fitness, it's making sure they're 100%, and that they clearly weren't on Saturday. You could see it. They were gassed out in that first half, and that's why Eddie had to make 2 changes straight away at half time. So that's my criticism of Saturday. Should have started Harvey Barnes. Probably should have started Miley. Probably should have started Jacob Ramsey. Get the legs in. Get people who were fit and who were ready to go. So that first 10 minutes was fantastic. But if you can only do it for 10 minutes, that's not good enough. You've got to be able to give 100% for at least 75, 80 minutes of a Premier League game if you want to get 3 points. And we did not do that on Saturday. We probably played for, I would say, 25 minutes of the second half, 10 minutes of the first half. That's 35 minutes out of 90. It's not good enough. So I think he needed to rotate, and he's got to learn to do that a bit more, because he likes to pick his favourite players. That's what it looks like. Ramsey always seemed to be aggressive. Yeah, he's quick. He likes to go forward. People don't like to put challenges in because you can skip past them. He draws in players, makes space for other players. And that's why Harvey Barnes had a lot of success, because Ramsey was helping out down that side, and he was opening the game up, and he was allowing Barnes to get a bit more room in the box. So also, it's hard to take one game at a time when they're coming thick and fast. Surely need to consider the next match. Of course we do. We've got a massive game against Fulham on Saturday. And Fulham are no mugs. They beat us last season 2-1 at St James's Park, unfortunately, and I was there to see it. So not a good game for us. Very quickly, guys, don't forget we've got amazing sponsors, Diet Crow, Bars 20 for 20% off. Link is in the description. Same for the Geordieland Experience. Check them out. Absolutely amazing stuff. John's been on one of the tours. He fully enjoyed it. So if there's any you want to learn about the history and things that you're not aware of, contact them. And Print Charmin, another great business in Wallsend who do a lot of memorabilia stuff, Newcastle stuff, lots of other clubs, movies, everything. So they're in Wallsend. Google them, find them on Facebook. Fantastic company. I've seen some of the stuff they have on offer. It's fantastic. I will get pictures of everything for them because they are brilliant. So looking at, I mean, they play a 4-3-3 as well. So that's going to be very interesting tomorrow night. We're going to play a 4-3-3. Jeez, you said shutting doors. Now, SofaScore actually has us unchanged, but I can see changes being made. I really can. I feel like I'm being critical now, but I'm really not. You're not being critical. It's true. This is what it's like. What's your take on Alex Murphy at left-back? I've seen a lot of comments about him not being used. Tough one. I just don't know if he's good enough, if I'm completely honest with you. When you think about the drop-off from Lewis Hall to Dan Burn. Dan Burn did nothing wrong on Saturday, by the way. I thought he played very well. He put one of the best crosses of the game in when he fired it across the 6-yard box and no one got on the end of it. It was criminal. But Dan Burn has different attributes. Obviously, his height, his natural ability to play inside left as well to help cover in a centre-back situation. As a left-back, he's played there loads of times, I remember. Played there for Brighton, played there for us. We finished in the Champions League when he played at left-back. So I would be picking Dan Burn over Alex Murphy all day of the week, because Alex Murphy is actually a left centre-back. He's not a left-back. So for me, I just don't think he's good enough. Get him on the bench, maybe get minutes if he an injury comes up, but I wouldn't be playing him, to be honest with you. I guess he's good to have in the squad because of the quartet of English players and homegrown and all that sort of stuff. So it's kind of turning into the new Dummett, isn't he? Obviously not as good because Dummett was all right in his peak. But yeah, so SofaScore tomorrow has got us unchanged. I personally would bring Alanga out and put Murphy in. I'd be tempted to take Gordon out as well because I don't think he was very good on Saturday. Needs a rest and put Barnes in because I thought Barnes was excellent. It's his chance to prove he deserves to start. And then you've got the Tonali and Joe Linton situation. Are both of them going to be fit enough? If they're not, you've got to play Miley and Ramsey. And is that what we want to see in a Champions League game? No, it's not. We want to see our best 11, but this is what happens in a season. You pick up injuries, you pick up niggles, you've got to make changes. So there we go. I agree with Alex Murphy. He's not really stood out for me watching the 21s or whatever, but we're not allowed to say that. Of course we are. Right. The under-21s is a massive step down from the first 11 in Premier League football. The actual difference in the games is criminal. The pace is different. The standard is completely lower. And this is why I don't get excited by under-21 players at the moment, because they're not standing out. Neve is sort of standing out a little bit, but he's not standing out enough to be knocking the Sula out of the squad, is he? And you know how much I feel about Asula, even though he has improved because he's under Eddie Howe. He has got better. But Sean Neve is banging them in. But when he gets his chances in the friendlies, he's nowhere to be seen. And he missed a sitter of a header, I think it was at St. James's Park. So it's just one of those things. It's going to take a long time until we actually see under 21 players who will be able to step up into the squad and push the first 11 or push the players on the bench. So we've got to hope our recruitment is perfect or near perfect. But if not, remember, we sell them for a profit. And I had an argument with someone on Facebook, shock horror again. He said, I don't understand why we're buying young talent for, because the talent never comes through. I was like, well, we've just had 14, 15 years of Mike Ashley. He completely blew the system out of the water and didn't add to it, which is it's a nightmare. So all I keep saying is that when we sign players at 14, 15, 16, you will see the fruits of that labour around the 18, 19, 20-year-old mark. And what will happen is if they're not good enough to go into the first team squad, they'll have a price on their head, because they will be good enough for championship level potentially, or going to Scotland or going over to Holland, or, they will have a value, and that value becomes massive to our PSR battle. So let's just say, for example, we sign 20 16-year-olds to play through the system up until they're 19, 20. We say, right, sorry, guys, only 5 of you are good enough to keep. 15 of yous we're going to sell. Right? That's 15 players at pure profit. You then put a value of 10, 15, 20 pound on those players' heads. They go to the championship. They go to abroad, maybe to lower clubs. You're talking nearly 300 million pound gained, because you put all that time and effort into them when they were younger to make them into professional footballers. Yes, might not be at the level that we want them to be, but that solves our PSR problem. And then you start the conveyor belt going. And then the next year, the 16-year-olds from that, who were 15 at the time, then become 16, 17, and the conveyor belt continues and continues and continues. That's why Brighton are a well-run football club. It's why Chelsea are a well-run football club. It's why Man City are a well-run football club. They make so much money from investing in youth and then selling it on at a decent price. And I'm not talking 40, 50, 60, 70 million here. I'm talking 10, 15, 20 million for quite a lot of players, which is pure profit, and it sorts out PSR. Even if we sold 5 of them, that's 100 million at £20, 20 million each. It's 100 million. Crazy, you know, and this is where we need to do. Again, another one that we had a lot of hope for from City, but hasn't happened. Was Ches was available. Yes, some great stats on players who actually make it in the Premier League. Exactly. There's not many that come through. There really isn't. But it's making sure you've got players who are good enough to go on to a different level at a half decent price. Like I say, 10 million and above, we then start sorting out our PSR problem. But we also need to get our loan system better. We need a feeder club. Someone mentioned Sheffield Wednesday. I said, not a good idea. Needs to be a club outside of the English pyramid system. Somewhere maybe in Holland, somewhere maybe in Portugal, you know, and get our players playing. But they've got to be good enough to get into the sides as well. You've got to pick the right teams with the players, and then you've got to look after them. So that's my thoughts on that side of things. I don't know if you guys agree, but I think that's the only way we get rid of PSR, as well as selling a big star every now and again, which we did with the Rat. And there might be one maybe in the future that we might have to get rid of, just so we can carry on spending and improving and pushing up that Premier League, and then knocking on the door of the big boys, because we will be a big boy eventually. But yeah, tomorrow night's going to be a very, very difficult game. I think it all depends on who starts and how fit they are, and how Eddie Howe decides whether he wants to change it as much as I think he should. I don't think he will. But Tonali's the big, big if. But I'm going for a 2-1 win tomorrow night. I think we'll beat Benfica. They don't like travelling to England. They're a good side, but a cold night at St James's Park under the lights, we can do anything, especially with the fans behind us. Get war flags, get the big displays out, get everyone singing, get a few drinks down here, and enjoy the game, everyone. Let me know your thoughts. Ooh, Bluebers looks canny so far. I've not seen anything of him, Blade, to be honest with you, but I take all your trust on board when it comes to our youth players, because you guys watch it more than I do. So let's hope you're right. I'm sorry Graham hasn't made it. We will rearrange, hopefully. Like I say, we've got a big charity night coming up in February, March. According to media and fan channels, our whole squad has been sold in the summer. It's fantastic, isn't it? You've got to love it. But that's me done. I am knackered. I need to go to bed, guys. I've had a horrible day at work. Nothing's gone right. So I'm going to bid you a good night, and I will see you tomorrow with Superfan Dan for the watch along. He might have to start it because I might not be home in time, but we will do a watch along tomorrow. I believe the game's on Amazon. Someone let me know if it's not, so I know where I'm watching it tomorrow, and let me know. Thanks, Gary, as always, for chipping in. Everybody else who's chipped in as well, Lee, Robbie, God, everyone has. It's been great. It's been a great conversation. It's cheered me up a little bit after a bad day at the office. TNT2, brilliant. Got it on my phone, and it's normally quite a good link as well. So that is absolutely superb. So we will see you again tomorrow night, guys. Take care till then. However, lads, come on.